Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Deez, this is my workshop, and today we're going to get on to something I've been wanting to do for a little while, ever since I got my Mitutoyo digital caliper. I've been noticing that the Neiko that I've been using for 2.5 years, it's starting to show a thou and a half off, a couple thou. There's something wrong there. So in this video, I'm going to get out my measurement instruments. I'm going to compare the digital calipers against the micrometers using some known sources. I don't have anything larger than an inch, or I have a 2-inch micrometer, so I'm going to use that against my 1, 2, 3 blocks. I know they're not gauge blocks in order to verify accuracy, but these are pretty good gauge blocks. And we're just going to compare these two digital calipers and see how far off they are. So that's going to be the focus of today's video. Let's get you down here and let's start verifying the accuracy of these things. Well, I don't have a whole set of gauge pins or gauge blocks or anything to test a lot of my tools with, but I do have a handful that have been gifted to me over the years, and we're going to use these as our known sources to compare all the instruments. Let's get these out of here. We have a 100 thou and 5/10 gauge block, 150 thou, and a 23 thou gauge block. So we're going to use those. In addition, we do have a 1-inch pin that came with the Fowler. We're going to use that. And I don't think there is anything larger in here, but let's check. There's another 1-inch here, so maybe we'll use that too for the 2-inch. So that's what we're going to use in order to compare all of these. Let's start with the 150 thou. We know it's 150 thou. It's marked on the gauge block. Let's start with the Mitutoyo. We zero that out and we are at 0. What do we measure with the 150 thou? We are at 150 thou, as expected. So the same side up here, let's measure, set this here. Here's the Neiko. There's 0. Let's see what we come out with. I did change the battery in this. Maybe it was a battery, but that's terrible. 147 thou and 5/10. 147 thou. The tips are a little better, 149 thou. But measuring like that, it shouldn't be 147. So clearly, the jaws, if you read it like that, so 147 thou towards the back and closer to 150 thou out towards the tip. So the jaws on this Neiko are like this. So you're measuring like this. So we've got a problem with these. I'm not sure. Maybe you can adjust that out of there. But I have been using these and trusting these for a long time. Let's do the same test again here. Go back here. 150 thou on the back. Let's check the tip. 150 thou. Hopefully you can see that. These are definitely reading what we would expect them to read. I'm very pleased with that. But this confirms some suspicions that I've had with the accuracy of these. 147, that's 3 thou. For digital calipers, well, now that's reading, there's 150 at the tip. Oh, maybe there's a burr on the tip. 150 on the tip, but just inside the tip, 147. see. Can we feel a burr? I don't feel one there. There's something rough on the end of this tip. Interesting. I can see air, a little bit of light through. That's the problem. There we go. I think we discovered what was wrong with these. It's not zero there. There's a 3 thou gap in between. You can see, I don't know if I can show that or not. I'm going to bring you down here. I want to show that to you. So you can see, if I move that just right in there, right in between, you see that that light through it? Should not have that light down the center of this. That's what I'm talking about. And my guess is that's 3 thou, 2.5 to 3 thou. Contrary, if we look at the Mitutoyo, you can't see any light through that, as you should, because it's measuring. I think we just discovered what was wrong with these. And again, if I measure, here is that 150 gauge pin block. See it there? If we measure this corner and we use any of the jaws in the back, 147, use it all the way to the tip, but not on the tip, 147. And if we do just the tip, 150, just slightly off. And that thing moving kind of just tells you there's a burr on the end of that. Now, I don't think it's very good to take a grinder to these or a stone, but I think I'm going to. Just on the tip, just ever so slightly, so I can see if I can take out the burr or whatever's on there that's causing this. I really don't like the idea of this, but I got to get that taken out of there. So I think what I'm going to do is just try this first. Clamp onto this and just pull it out. Okay. That one moved it a little bit, so we're negative 1/2 tenth. So I think that's going to be the direction I'm going to go. Just taking a tiny bit off. Yeah, these are probably hardened to some degree. Well, let me play with that and see if I can fix that. But it's definitely, the tip's reading different than any other part of this. But if I can correct that, we have our calipers back in use. I'll bring you back. I'm going to get this sorted, but that's the idea. I'm going to use a stone and just take off whatever burr is on there. I think I've got it much closer. It may not be 100%, but it's going to be better than it was. If we close the jaws now, you can see we're 2.5 thou. If we go back to our 150 thou gauge block and we measure the tip, 147.5. If we measure just inside the tip, 147, 147.5. Oh. So maybe we're half that. Let's go back towards the back of the jaws. 147. So I may need maybe a tenth off. There in the middle, it's 147.5. But the other thing to note, if you put this in here, it no longer just freely spins. It does just a little. I bet I need to take just the tiniest bit off. And again, just using this stone just to flatten it on here and just ever so slightly taking off. Not putting any pressure on it, just letting the stone do the work. I can feel it. There we go. Let's see. If we go back to our gauge block, there it is. Trying to use the same corner. 147.5. 147.5. 147.5. 147 all the way back. And furthermore, this is what I was showing you. If you pinch it there, it doesn't spin like it was spinning on the tips. So I think we made some improvements. So now that we have that, we need to zero this thing out again. So let's zero that. There's some flex in there if I want to push it hard, but there is 0. So if we take this, 150 thou, 149.5, let's zero that one more time. Make sure there's nothing on there. Interesting. Maybe our tips are still just a little off here. They might be. I think we're just a little bit more. I can still see the light through there, so I'll keep playing with these, but that's the idea. I believe we've definitely improved them. I think I can make them a little bit better. What I just did there was not proper. I actually zeroed it by over stressing it. These things should just gently press together and measure what you want it to be, not, half a thou. It should be 0 when it's 0, and it's not. But I think there's a half a thou gap on one of these tips, which kind of makes sense if this is reading over. So we'll keep messing with that. But I wonder, as you go larger, do we have a bigger problem with these? Here's a 1 inch. So it's a half thou bigger. And then if we use this one, now that one measures the same there. Well, there we go. That one's reading pretty good. Definitely improve these things. However, they're still, I still think there's some room for improvement on this 150. I mean, that should actually be 0. I think we're just skirting in between that 1/2 tenth. It's pretty good for calipers. You should not rely on these for precision, which I do all the time, but you should really be using your micrometer. So if we compare these against the micrometer, what do we have? Looks like 150 to me. You can see the 150, we're rounded to 0. This is accurate. This is what you want to use as a micrometer. Of course, you all know that. So this is 150. We know for sure. It's just trying to improve the caliper. But we're making progress. I'm gonna keep playing with it off camera. Interesting. Again, these were $30. These were $120. So there's the difference. But these are much better than they were. They were 2.5 thou out, and we have that much improved. So I'm a lot happier with that. As far as larger scale, let's do a 2-inch reading, and then we'll kind of close this clip out, and then we'll get on to something else. So here's a 1, 2, 3 block. This is as accurate a larger, something larger that I have. So, and it's not going to be perfect. It's pretty close though, 2 inches. You should be able to read that hopefully. So we're going to measure this side. Let's measure the end here because that's what I'm going to do with the micrometer. It's 2 inches. So let's use the 2-inch micrometer and see what that reads. Let's see, it's 2. This is 2 inches, so the Mitutoyos are reading pretty well. Let's try that again. Spot on, 2 inches on the 0. So this is as accurate as anything that I have for 2 inches. So let's check the Neiko at a larger reading now. Since we know the Mitutoyo is reading almost spot on, the micrometer is confirming that it's 2 inches. This is zeroed out. Let's see if we're off here. I'm sure we will be. Actually, it's reading better out here. So if I use the tips, 1/2 thou over, no, it's 2 inches. So these are good for most applications, but they are not as reliable, I guess I would say, as a micrometer for sure, or a higher quality Mitutoyo digital caliper. 1/2 thou under. Actually, that confirms what we were getting. It's just right on the cusp of being accurate, if that makes any sense. But yeah, this is a 1/2 thou under. So that confirms it with the 2-inch too. I guess I need to think about it. I'm not exactly sure why when it's zeroed out, it's zeroing out, but it's actually under when you're reading anywhere else. Now I could see if I overfiled the tips, I could see it being under only on the tips when I measured like this out here. So that would make sense, but I'm actually measuring the jaws themselves, and it's a 1/2 thou under all the way up. Very interesting. Well, they're a lot better than they were. I've confirmed that the Mitutoyos are very accurate as well. Very happy with those, and I use the micrometers to confirm those settings. I don't have any larger. I would really love to get a set of gauge blocks, gauge pins, some larger known sources, and just a better selection of metrology, measuring, and calibration tools, but I just don't have it. It's not in the budget right now. Maybe someday we'll be able to get that stuff. But for now, let's move on to that next project.